skilled and professional we are.
You want to be disciplined in all facets.
You want to be
all
disciplined in all facets.
Discipline
life.
is paramount when attacking any of life's problems.
Ain't that the
Now,
cold hard?
That might be the Apollonian truth. That might be the golden truth of the Hermetic order.
Oh, that is a topic that we gotta save for somewhere in the middle portion.
I would say not now, because now is something for something lighthearted like ramen fucking noodles. Am I right, folks? Can I get an amen?
We're gonna get beer.
No
in
amen?
a second. We're gonna get a beer a second. We're gonna get a little.
So when I say
acclimated.
amen, most people say amen unless they're heretics.
Oops.
But I fuck with ticks
What do you
because
mean?
ticks realize that blood is, well, I'm just saying.
Hairy ticks.
you think amen? We shouldn't say amen.
No, I
should
said
say
you should say amen. And if you don't say amen, then you're a heretic.
What if amen,
Well, I definitely have
that
purpose.
mean? What does
I
that
definitely
mean?
have purpose behind the satire that I am spouting right now. I am not actually.
where does amen come from? That's actually what I'm curious
No,
about.
he always
Probably
has
a
point,
man.
This guy. Just when you thought there's absolutely no point, he thinks of a point. What is the point?
Who is this man?
Yeah.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we call this guy on my right the White Rider. He's the White Rider because he brings the undeniable truth to the absurdity of life. And that is why he is absurd himself.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that absurdity itself points the mirror at absurdity itself? It's as if the delineation of order was necessary for us to truly, and not even truly, because to wholly encapsulate the unfathomably deep enclaves of chaos one cannot be within a corporeal paradigm. No, of course not. But regardless, there is an irony in the fact that in order for one to see chaos, we need to see it through the lens of order. And that's what I'm here to do, folks, is give a little order to the chaos.
Yeah, he's a ball of chaos that's got a little layer of order around it.
There's a little order.
Yeah. That's how he's able to eat ramen like
That's
a
what
human.
she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty quiet.
He normally ingests things through his other orifices.
If we get one slurp, we can hashtag it as mukbang. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's all we needed.
This is that
So-
Shin ramen. It's the one from the red case.
Shin ramen.
It's when I was in boarding school in high school, there were a myriad of Koreans there, a plethora, a proverbial pride of them, a gaggle of Korean geese. Anyway, there's a lot of Koreans, dude. It's because it's some exchange program. There are a bunch of Japanese kids too. Regardless,
The Korean community.
The
is gonna
Korean
have our
community-
heads at this point.
well, I'll
Already.
tell you this much about the Korean community is until I met Armin to my left,
Here we go.
I have never met a group of human beings who could just who could hand me my tookus when it
Right.
comes to Tekken 5. Like, never in my life,
Oh.
never have I ever met a bunch of people so good at this video game that I was unbeatable at until that moment. So props to the Koreans for beating me in Tekken, beating me in StarCraft, and teaching me that the best microwavable ramen is, of course, the red spicy Shin
It's
ramen.
Now, I have an immediate question to follow that. Did you see the movie Parasite?
I saw the last half of the movie Parasite.
Really, just the last half?
And it was atrocious because I felt like I totally don't understand exactly what happened still to this day. And I don't
Oh,
want
God.
to because I want to watch the first half by myself.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Yeah. But from what I saw, I think the Koreans made a bold move.
Crazy.
And they did a good job. That's why they got.
That's why they got the award.
That's what they did.
One of
Man,
the
I've never seen the
most
movie.
wild movies ever.
It was good.
Now, here's a huge.
Ever?
One of them.
Yeah.
let me tell about a huge gripe that I have with Donald. He was giving a speech post these awards. I don't remember what award it was, whatever big movie award, and he was talking about the awards, and then he's like, Parasite won, or he said something to the effect of Parasite won. And he's like, geez, can't like an American movie win? And I was like, man.
Right. Because American movies
It's
never
like,
win awards.
We got them. Also, come on, this movie was too good.
This movie was pretty good.
It really deserved
This
it.
movie was pretty
100%.
Yo, but I've never seen that movie, but I have seen, like, Old Boy was a pretty good Korean movie.
See, I haven't seen it.
I've not
And
seen
like,
that either.
all three of those Vengeance movies were lit. And then there was this other Korean horror movie I saw, where a Japanese dude moves in, and there's a lot of ghosts and stuff. I forget the name of it. And then there's another one where there's this scaled fucking alien creature who fed on our poop in the sewer systems and grew really big. And
Are you talking about the
that was pretty
reptilian
good.
reptilian folks?
The Host. It was called The Host. Yeah,
The
man.
Host.
I feel like I've been watching all these like great Korean like horror movies, or I wouldn't say they're great, but they're niche. You know, they're like within some sort of cinematic scope, right? That American cinema wasn't quote unquote ready for, or at least didn't give it the time of day. And I really need to see this movie Parasite, that apparently is the one that broke the mold. You know, but
It broke the mold.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just think that like.
It broke the popular mold.
Yes, well, I think that more so that there's like foreign films in general aren't given the accolades they desire. I think it's probably here.
We have a special guest coming in, so we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. We'll be right there. Okay.
Mason. You can talk. Well, can you light that incense?
Yeah. We're gonna light this incense, and up there sitting is Leroy, special guest tonight.
Special guest.
First ever podcast special guest, Leroy, a befitting special guest.
You gotta go by my MySpace name when I was a scene kid.
Leroy Paranoia.
Leroy Paranoia.
Did you have an aim?
I did. It was Neurotic X Bunny.
Neurotic X Bunny. That sounds
Neurotic
about right. Mine was
X.
Sassy Hot Mama.
On MySpace?
Who are you?
On MySpace?
I did not see the Sassy Hot Mama coming.
No one ever does.
Not
No
from
one ever does.
not from a bushel of kilometers away.
Yeah, no.
The amount of kilometers that I would need to see that coming are certainly 3 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. I would have to be within eyesight.
That's understandable.
I could not hear that or sense it over the mountainside.
Special shout out to Eighth Wonder Brewery. For
This one goes out
Special
to
shout out to
Eighth
Eighth
Wonder
Wonder.
Brewery.
delicious IPAs that they were gracious enough to give to us after a few shows. And we will all be at the Eighth Wonder outdoor event this coming Thursday. Shameless plug.
September.
We need to tell people about it.
When it comes to the Houston Ensemble, the Eighth Wonder Brewery is really, going all in and helping us out during this extremely dire time. So we just need to give them the accolades that they deserve. Unlike the accolades that early Korean horror cinema deserved
Yeah.
and did not receive.
Yeah.
September 10th,
That's so true.
Thursday, 5 to 8 p.m. 5 to 8 p.m. Eighth Wonder Brewery. Live music, live beer.
While we're on the
Live
shout outs,
beer, yes.
live beer, dude.
Live beer.
Live cultures. The
Live
yeast is
cul-
a really
live yeast
They
cultures.
make a great hop.
not only is the culture vibrant, but it's also lit and live. That's right, livest of
Lit
culture.
and live. There's also the truck yard next door. I don't even know the truck yard. We don't know the truck yard. We're gonna plug it anyway.
If I was allowed to
it
use
looks
bad
good enough.
words, I would call it something else. Rhymes with duck yard. Am I right, ladies?
Yeah.
What? Like, I thought it sounded like Trump yard.
Yeah.
Chad's a little hot. I'm going to turn him down.
I am a little, actually.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was Trump yard. When,
You know, I'm trying to decide how deep we go, because if we go
we go
like
as deep as
extra deep,
possible.
then I know some stories Chad would be beside himself if he told these stories. And
What do you mean?
Likewise.
Some stories
What
are
stories?
not
Yeah,
are not designed to be podcasted.
What stories?
No, we're
I
gonna
be
go
beside
there
myself
eventually.
with?
We need to go there.
We're not even a quarter.
So here we are.
Quarter cast.
This is the first episode of the Apocalypse Now podcast.
Podcast
Go to
now.
the Why This Is the Apocalypse Now podcast. Go to why that is.
A
and then
podcast
we're
now.
Look around. Just look around you. Where are we?
Joseph Campbell, yeah.
Shout out to
One
Joseph
does not
Campbell.
try. Shout out to Joseph Campbell.
Symbolism, the Illuminati.
This one here is to the Mask of
Order,
a Thousand
the
Phases and the
Masons.
power of the myth. I'm a toast to that. I really hope that anybody can fucking give Joseph Campbell the accolades that he deserves, much unlike the accolades that early Korean horror cinema deserved.
Right.
So, there have been a lot and a lot.
Don't interrupt him.
There have been a lot and a lot of deep, dark conclusions about the state of the world right now.
Yeah.
And, who knows what's true and what's not. That's actually the point. We don't know. We don't know. But
We do have apocalypse
we do have an apocalypse, and
or a podcast
we have both, actually. We have an apocalypse and a podcast.
now.
And
I think that we need to throw in aliens in here, at least at some point. I would like to throw aliens in.
yeah.
Before we do that, could I also do a shameless plug? Thanks to Mariana at Armov Garden.
Yeah.
She's really helped the
Yeah.
Houston Ensemble in more ways than one.
Yeah. And the other night, my car got locked in there because there's a pussy ass fight.
Yo,
There's a lame fight.
I would not call that a
And
fight.
A bunch of cops.
But something
came,
happened.
And I wasn't. I respect all the cops. Nothing. Well, this is not a commentary on cops, but
we'll get to that too.
We'll get to that.
I often skip 12 when I'm counting to 15.
Why?
Cause
That doesn't make any
'cause
sense.
12, yes it does.
I don't get it.
I never had a 12th birthday because fuck 12.
Look, a lot of hotels skip the 13th floor, but I
Yeah.
skip the 12th floor.
Yeah. So I go straight to 13, baby.
So
'Cause I like to
imagine
take
being the
risks.
person in charge of building this building and arranging the elevator system, and they're like,
Yes.
so like in the meeting they're gonna be, we're not gonna do the 13th, right? We're
Is
not
this
gonna-
13th proof?
It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere.
Is this elevator 13 proof?
And they'll be like, oh yeah, totally.
All right, cool.
And then you don't have a 13th floor, and that's just, there's
And
a
that's-
superstition at Rice University
Oh man.
where when you matriculate into the school, is that the word? You matriculate in,
What is that?
you're like officially received as a student of the school.
That is
Basically, you
too
go through
much.
an orientation week, and then you walk through. There's like a ceremony where you walk through the front giant arch of the university,
Oh, yeah.
and so then they beat into you, and they even say it before that walking back through the arch, before you graduate, you will not graduate. And
Wow.
so to that, me and two others said we went in and out and in and out and in and out, and we said we're just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, I like how you're doing that.
know.
I like how you're doing that.
Okay, so
And
here's
guess
my.
what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
You graduated?
I graduated.
Okay, so here's my theory.
Suck on
Here's my theory to account for the superstition.
That's what you have to stand
I
up
like the
to
climax.
every day.
I liked it.
That's why you have to what? Stand what?
This is what you have to stand up to every
Exactly.
All
All right,
Various
so my
versions of
theory
this.
goes like this. The person that you are, this Chadwick that we're sitting in front of at the moment, is the Chadwick that graduated. Yet every time you walked backwards, you spun off a new reality where another Chadwick did not graduate. So every time you were doing that, you were basically destroying the academic career of your interdimensional cohorts.
Yeah,
Why
it
did
doesn't
you
matter,
do that
though.
so many times,
doesn't
man?
matter.
And
Once
the amount
wasn't enough,
once
was not enough.
was not enough, which
No.
is
It wasn't enough.
this guy's a vegan, folks. Just it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's if it's a clone of Chad. They don't
Nope.
have lives. It's chickens that we care about. But who's the real chicken?
Because they were doing it to me. I mean, they've done it to me in other ways, whatever those other ways are. So
They.
Probably.
They.
And now we get on the topic of karmic retribution, which is a really important topic.
Karmic retribute. That is an important topic, and I think what's most important to first think is that it's not punishment.
I love how we started so nebulous in our deep, philosophical route. We started the most nebulous as possible. Let's hone in into that. What's going on right now?
Okay.
What's going on in musicians right now?
Karmically?
Karmically. Right
Karmically.
now. What's going on in musicians right now? So, I mean, again.
Where are you looking?
Houston, again.
Start us off, babe.
Houston, again, looks pretty good. But then you think about LA, and I don't understand what my brothers in LA are even doing. What are you guys even doing out there?
If I could pour a beer onto this carpet, I would for those folks.
Yeah.
Bless their souls.
What do you mean? Are they just absolutely
it's
everything is shut
Yeah,
down?
it's literally the zombie apocalypse is
I
going
would-
on right now.
And just a side question, I was thinking about this earlier today.
Mm.
It's I haven't been to too many other cities recently, but actually the other two that I have been to within the past month, Seattle and then an island, everybody was super strict about wearing their mask,
Yeah.
even outside
It was
within the
crazy.
city proper.
It was crazy.
And I feel like in Houston, it's actually pretty low key. Do you think so? And then,
That's what I'm saying.
And then in turn, somewhere, so we're getting gigs back.
So
per se.
Joe Rogan's and other people presumably will be moving to Texas, probably to Austin, but if not Houston or Dallas.
Or no, probably not Dallas. Joe Rogan, I
Let's-
see him in San Antonio or Houston before I see him in Dallas. Let's
He's
be real.
going to Austin though. He's
No, I
going to
think
be
he's
in
going
Lake Austin.
Probably gonna
around
be to Austin, yeah.
So what we're
That's-
gonna do is
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's
see
what I'm
All-
saying.
everybody from California, if they go to Houston, they're gonna want to go to effing Austin, obviously,
Yeah.
because that's the only place that's still weird.
That's what everybody said. I don't understand because, in my experience, I've known at least a few musicians in Houston that have left Austin
to come to Houston.
to come to Houston. And I don't understand because presumably Austin's the music capital of the world or of America. Thank you, Jerred.
Hey.
And so then what are people doing moving here? And I don't think Houston's necessarily tapped into its music scene whatsoever.
Wait, you said Houston is not tapped into its own music scene?
No.
No, they have not.
No.
Oh, I see.
Not even.
So
The skills, the depth of skills that run throughout Houston is inversely proportional to the amount of money that's given to musicians. And that's a fact. Pardon my goddamn French.
Yeah. We'll beep it in
but this
we'll
is,
beep it in
but
post.
this is probably better than other cities.
Oh yeah, Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's
quite
what
a bit
I'm
better.
saying. What am I
Better than Dallas.
I would say better than Dallas. Yeah. Even Dallas, when I was in Dallas, got to the Houston level when Houston started having a curfew and closing down places early, even Walmart, and starting to close down other shops.
We said no, sir.
That we said no, sir, at first, but then Dallas was already doing that. Dallas was doing that within
they're
a
already
week
doing
of the quarantine. And I knew that if Dallas is doing this within a week of the quarantine, then Houston will probably follow. But Houston lasted a long time. And then
Right.
Houston finally did go into the quarantine. But people didn't like it too long. It didn't last too long. Now in wave 2, whatever. But wave 2 is relaxing and bars are opening. Again, shouts out to Avant-Garde.
Yeah.
Shout out to Armov.
You know, one thing that's interesting, I'm just looking to see kind of like California versus Houston on the stats, coronavirus, COVID-19 stats of death. And Texas is, and this is on Statista, Maxinistastatista.com.
Sopapilla.
You screen capping that?
I am. And Texas is at 47, and California is at. Where is it? I just saw it. It's at 35. No, it's at 35.
What, Texas at 35?
No, Texas is 47, and California is 35.
47.
And
That's good.
What is that number?
deaths.
47 deaths?
Death
Per
rates
100,000 people.
per 100,000 people.
All right. Can we look up
Population.
But that's Chile.
And so
Statistics like
There's
that.
like 30 million people in Texas.
Statistics like that lean towards population-heavy states, such as Texas and California. What you
Right.
need is a per capita. You need per capita, so you know how many people per. Oh, actually, no, that is a per capita per 100,000. Sorry.
so
we'll just
actually,
edit.
Per head of-
We'll just edit all that
All right,
bullshit.
here we go. California has 38,500,000 people, a little over, and Texas has 28,995,000.
30, dude. That was
So
Right.
that is an argument for a more stringent approach. Now,
Dude, that's the most populated and the third most populated
But-
states in the United States of America.
but I'm gonna
If-
go with I'm
Here we
not sure.
go.
I'm gonna go with
New
that.
York is the only state that has as many people in it as those two states.
Wait.
If there's any unanimity amongst among how we control things, among the top 3 most populated states of the United States
Well,
need to be
New York-
controlled unanimously.
Did you say New York is one of the top populated states?
Yes.
But it has 19 million
Okay.
compared to California at 39 million. So I was, which is
So
Third,
who else is
okay.
up there?
I don't know, probably
Tennessee.
No, Pennsylvania is probably the closest.
I don't even know.
It's good. It's good.
Florida.
Florida maybe. Florida is, let's see, 21 million. It's not a ton more. So
I got that wrong.
I feel like based on a lot, see there are caveats to this though. It's like that the California versus Texas population, then you look at the deaths, it gives you a reason to say, okay, them being more stringent is helping. But you know, if you
Not that much.
no, not that much, barely.
If you look at it statistically in terms of percentile,
Yeah.
that's nada.
No, right. And also, this amount of deaths as of today, September 7th, 2020, 35 deaths. It's like, okay. We got
35 deaths as of
Out
Out
of
of
30
a-
million people?
hold on.
no, out of 100,000.
Death
So,
rate.
Out of
do this
100,000.
math
Let's just
on this.
clarify this one more time. Death. Oh, hold on.
Dude,
You know why?
28 million.
Sorry. This is why this is messed up a little bit.
Yeah,
Death
yeah.
rates from coronavirus in the United States as of September 7th
So there's like
per
Yeah.
100,000
Over the course of the last
so there's like
2
500
days.
deaths. Unless do the math right now.
They're saying over the course of the last 2 days, these
I can't do that
statistics.
math immediately.
No, you don't need to do math. All you need to know is that this statistic that we're looking at is goes back only 2 days or 3 days. So like you can't really find a trend over such a short amount of time.
But it's
It's a limited
it's-
data set. It's
No,
limited
but
to
it's-
since
it's the
September
whole-
7th. What is
no,
today?
no, no,
September
no, no, no.
8th?
It's
9th, 10th?
no, it's since the very beginning.
Then why did it say since September 7th?
No, as of
As
of September 7th.
47.
47 in
per
Texas.
100,000.
Per
It's a
So-
per capita.
So they're saying that there's 13,000 over 13,000 deaths in Texas. That's what that means.
Okay.
So if you do the math, 37 per 100,000, you divide 39 million or whatever 29 million by 100,000,
Oh, this is
and then
interesting.
multiply that number by 47, you might be with that
All
number,
right.
13,000.
Right. And so
Let me just do a little
13,000 of
Here.
28 million.
Listen to this interesting stuff from the CDC website. All right, Jesus, this is kind of in my way.
That's less than 0.05%.
Total. Here we go. Total deaths updated September 4th, 2020. All deaths involving COVID.
Involving. That is pretty vague. if you ask me.
172,884.
Terminology is choice.
Don't get too conspiratorial now.
Percent.
I'll tell you why you shouldn't get too conspiratorial. Can I tell you why?
Why is that?
But let me just
I
put a
think I know
disclaimer out
why.
there.
I think I know why.
Because we're gonna presumably be posting this on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. They will automatically and flag this video. I'm
Right.
telling you right now, this video will be flagged.
Yeah. Well,
So let's
just,
be very
you're
generous
saying
with how
that
we say this.
the
We can
truth
still
I
say
am.
it.
I'm just
with
saying the
which
statistics.
is revealed
I know.
may
I know.
endanger the power structures that are
that's a
in
whole
place.
nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
Isn't
We'll
it
get there.
though?
Which is precisely where I don't
why
want to go.
censor ourselves with why would we censor what we say because of an
You're
issue
right.
that we're not willing to address?
You're right. But I want to test the waters with this first podcast. Whatever happens, happens.
It's the wrong podcast to test the waters with, brother.
No, we're getting our feet wet.
Wow,
We're not even.
Don't you
okay.
think we need to develop a trend before we can oh yeah,
Apocalypse Now.
a podcast now. Podcast.
Played yourselves, both of y'all.
Apocalypse Now, dude. That's what it is.
No, I was just checking.
A podcast now.
Oh. All right. Let me just read some statistics from the website, please. Deaths from all causes.
What website is
This
this?
is the CDC.
Oh, CDC. Perfect.
.gov.
This is the site.
Deaths. Okay. All deaths involving COVID-19 as of September 4th. Involving COVID-19. 172,884.
172.
Deaths from all
Let's record
causes. 1,861,105.
You got a pen?
Use your phone.
All deaths involving influenza with or without COVID-19 or pneumonia includes COVID-19 or pneumonia.
It's like 200,000.
6,662.
Involving pneumonia with.
Okay, so
How about
subtract
this?
that. So subtract that from 137,000.
That's
Okay.
okay. So here's.
So we're down to 130,000.
Wow. That's interesting. All of the different things.
I love how vaguely.
So here, this one too. Deaths involving COVID-19 and pneumonia, excluding influenza, 76,950. So then you have.
Involving influenza with or without COVID. That's involving pneumonia, influenza, or COVID. So 278,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a real number we need to look at. So there's so many people getting sick with lung diseases, and the hospitals are only so accommodated to take care or to diagnose the individual symptoms or what the individual symptoms are the cause of the individual symptoms. We do not know the cause of when somebody is coughing. You walk into a hospital and you're coughing, it could be one of 7,000 things, What the statistics are showing us is that, sure, 300,000-ish people have died since when? I don't know. The statistics are gone. 300,000 people have died. And it could be COVID. It could be pneumonia. It could be influenza. It's probably one of the three. But there's no definitive way that we can say that this is the sole reason they died. Most people dying of COVID already have a predisposition of lung,
they have a.
They're going to die of
Unfortunately,
pneumonia if
that's
they
what
get
the
pneumonia.
numbers- That's what the numbers themselves suggest. It is not even
Yeah.
as if this is a far off assertion.
There's nothing.
It's like
yeah.
this is what the numbers suggest. Therefore,
If you've got 1 foot on the train to the other world, if you will, if you're on the death train, if you've got a ticket and you're just one ticket boy away from ripping off the stub, then that stub can be ripped off via COVID, via influenza, via pneumonia, via a really bad stubbed toe, via falling down the steps on a very icy day,
and also
via
you have too many instances of people being counted as positive or of even dying when it's not actually accurate. And or you can have
that's
or
true.
even,
I
or
even know.
something like the medical board writing a
Yeah.
letter to the doctors talking about that
Yeah.
if they suspected it was COVID or being
Right.
instructed by like superior people. If they
Even in my small group of people that I know personally, there have been false diagnoses. There have
I've
been
seen
people that
multiple
got a
as well.
second test
Yeah,
and they're like, well,
same.
now I don't have the antivirus. I don't have the antibody. How's that possible?
I would be more surprised to meet somebody who hasn't had a friend with false diagnoses than somebody who had, get what I'm saying? Like, we've all met the dude who got a false positive.
Yeah.
They're out there. We've all seen it.
Or just a positive with no
Or an asymptomatic positive.
Or
Yeah, that's another.
But maybe it's also like if there are other people who are thinking like that actually, if not thinking, but have shown that if you had a certain type of flu shot, these people were all testing positive.
And
That from-
sometimes I hear them talking about how like they got tested, and after they got tested, they had like a sniffle for a day, but they didn't have anything. It's almost as if like they placeboed
Right.
an effect
Yeah,
to
I know.
themselves, but it didn't last long because they're like,
That's why I was like, I don't even want to get tested.
I get the sniffles all the time.
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, orange pill.
Blue pill, red
Blue pill, red pill,
you know
orange
what?
pill, somewhere in the middle.
This is gonna be, this term has been thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
When you get red pilled,
Yeah.
You get red pilled.
Yeah, red pilled. Yeah.
folks.
Well, the whole red pill thing is
We're
so
not
crazy.
trying to discredit the severity of COVID. All we are saying is that the severity of it and that the way that the media is portraying the severity of it may not completely eclipse the severity of the disease itself.
As well as the financial incentives that we've seen created from this. And you can look at multiple different people and their connections and see the links between these things.
You have to forgive me, but if this is too conspiratorial, I'm not even gonna go to the conspiracy side of it. But I'm just gonna say what Joe says on this matter, and I agree with him because he looks
Joseph.
Mr. Rogan. He looks at the matter, and he calls it just on a purely ethos level. He looks at Bill Gates and he says, "Listen, he's wearing this fucking beep that out. He's wearing this sweater." And he's wearing
Mr. Rogers.
the Mr. Rogers sweater, and he's wearing his dad pants, and he's like ugly sneakers, even though he's a billionaire. And that's what irritates me about that character. Right off the bat, if I know that there's this billionaire who's not a...
You ain't flexing like he should, am I right?
well, okay,
No,
let's say...
he's flexing like weirdly.
He's
and
like doing that weird flex.
It's
You know what I'm saying? which irritates me more than the actual flex.
Would it be weird if he wasn't like 60 and skinny and short and white?
Well, it's also like...
He's
another
always
character.
dressed like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, or
Look,
like
tell me
Maury.
why he's morally wrong. Don't look at the superficial
Yeah,
shit.
But I know
Because who
that's
cares how the way the
superficial.
people dress?
No, I know that's superficial, but when you're in the public eye like that, it's no longer in the realm of superficiality. It's in the realm of
Okay.
media.
But okay, so
And
like
if you don't think that the media is very intentional about how they dress these characters up,
I think they are intentional. But what's more important to me, it isn't like it always raises my suspicion. Well, it doesn't raise my suspicion because because it's constant. It's a consistency. When you're put in the limelight, you need to appear to be presentable, right?
yeah, like
That's
Maury
always there.
Povich,
Like Maury Povich, like Jerry,
Mr.
like
Rogers.
Jerry effing Seinfeld, like
Seinfeld,
like Jeffrey Epstein, like Bill Clinton,
everybody.
like they all dress the way that they dress and
Yes.
look the way that they look and it's preach Christian values.
doesn't
Whether
mean
they're
shit.
but it
I
doesn't mean anything because not all of them are pieces of trash and not all of them are great people. They're not all awful people.
They don't
There's
even all
good
preach
people with
Christian
money
values.
out there. No, they don't. Some of
No.
them preach Jewish values.
I don't think
Some of
Jeffrey
them-
Epstein preached any values.
I
didn't even really know about him.
But I do know that
That's
he
not
dressed
even-
a certain way.
and
That's
not
why
even-
that's why I brought him
and
up.
I know this sounds so silly that I would say that, but to me personally, when I look at large media productions and I look at what they do on camera and how they do makeup and how they present these people, to me it comes off extremely intentional.
Oh yeah.
And knowing that the way that I see Bill present himself, and I know that people have they've exploded this whole notion that he has very weird social skills.
But what else?
But it's also the fact that why is this guy in particular, this billionaire, touting to have influence on the drugs that we consume?
That's a really
No,
good question.
I don't
or like,
understand why.
What
not a
does his software?
What if Jeff Bezos did that? I'd be like, why are you doing that?
Oh,
if
that's a
Jeff
good example.
Bezos
Or Warren Buffett did that. I'd be like,
Or
why are
George
you doing that?
Soros.
Or George Soros. God forbid. George
God
Soros. comes
these
up
are the
with this-
people who have made the most money off of this virus.
Oh, he's a humanitarian.
Or even, for example, here's
Okay,
another.
I
Here's
get it.
another.
Nobody has made more money than Jeff Bezos ever since COVID has hit. That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
statistic.
The weird
Look that
thing is,
shit
like,
up.
he
when
made
you-
all his money back from
He did.
divorce and then some.
Now, here's another like quick example. A quick example of linking of money to the virus. I think it was 10 days before. You can go check this out. Some article. Maybe we can pull it up in a second. 10 days, 14 days, something like that. Days before the California mask mandate was signed in. It might have been even less, actually. The governor of California, I don't remember his name right now, but the governor of California,
Arnold
signed a deal with China for, it was like,
They signed a deal with China.
like a
For what?
$1 million
Well, that was a mistake.
deal for
I mean-
masks.
I mean, they're like just
But
an
this is
ocean apart.
right before the mask mandate was put into order. Like,
Well,
Right
presumably
before-
they would be talking of a mask mandate a week prior to the actual.
Hold on.
If anybody knows about mask mandates, it's China. You know,
Yeah.
they're A1 at mask mandates, and honestly,
are.
they're good. They know when to do it. A lot of the times, it's due to
Yeah.
pollution and a lot of the
Yeah.
noxious fumes that are put into the air.
I
So,
could totally
you know.
play devil's advocate on this theory. And
well,
be
let me
like,
go to the
it's a
article,
business
because I feel like
It is a business opportunity. That's this. Anything that happens, whether it's a hurricane or a volcano
True.
or a virus or a war or
But that's
a
what I'm
time of
saying.
peace, it's all manipulated into a business opportunity. Every single businessman, if he's good at what he's doing, he's going to find a way to make money off of what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad. So we can't look at every bad thing and then look at the profit made off of it and say, hey, look at the correlation here. You know, there's a correlation between bad things and people making money. The people making money must have orchestrated the bad thing. And there's no way that all the bad things were all orchestrated. But all the bad things were definitely profited off of.
Yeah.
For sure. I think some of them were orchestrated.
I mean,
Sure.
I've
So
seen-
how do we tell the difference? I guess there's.
I don't
the
know. I
fucking
think
crux
you
of
can
the
see.
matter.
I think you can see like a little bit of both in this. I still can't.
I see
I
I
won't
see a
say
new
that.
virus that actually is a bit of an issue, like SARS was. but I
Only
see
for a very limited time, though.
I see an opportunity for I see a world where, you know, like maybe the 90s were better for this because there weren't as many media outlets, but it seems very opportunistic the way that this virus has been dealt with.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I'm not saying it's not a real threat. I'm not saying it's not a real thing, but I am saying that more opportunities were created from something than there needed to be. And that more people were destitute as a result of these opportunities.
When I think about the scheme that's going on or what might be going on, I think about the steps ahead. You know, I think about what is the next move, and if I were the one that was stirring the pot in some way, as it were, you know, presumably, you know, I would try to deflect the notion that after the election year things will simmer down. I would try to, and then I would try to cause more havoc the next year.
It depends. I think it depends.
That's what I would do.
Who gets
I would
off?
do 2021. I would throw the lid off.
Who are you in this scenario?
Because it's too suspicious
Are
if
you
you
just
don't do
money?
that.
It's too suspicious.
Are you-
It's too suspicious for stuff to chill out
after
post
election.
Trump's next
No,
4
because
years.
People are more aware of they're very scrutinous. Right, they're scrutinizing the heck out of the situation right now. I know you can see
Let's say he wins. I don't think that this is a him orchestration.
No, I don't know
No, I
who's
thought you were
orchestrating
maybe-
what, and I'm not gonna say who's orchestrating what. I'm just saying in terms of pure game theory. Again, I'm not even before I even
This
go
makes
into
Trump look worse than better. That's for sure.
I don't know what it makes who look
Well,
what.
it
but
might not have to do with if it was him. It might not. Really
what
have
I'm
to do
saying
with
in terms of
looks.
pure game theory is what you have to do after 2020 is make the stuff pop off. Is you have to cause all the riots to escalate, and you have to possibly start like civil unrest in multiple cities, another Occupy movement, something of the sort.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more unrest in 21. I'm not seeing less unrest in 21 because there's a shock wave, and there's always seems to be like the pulse.
And
of
especially
wave.
if Donald gets reelected, I think honestly it's gonna be like
I could see something going
Oh my
on.
god, it's gonna be nuts.
Actually,
We might not be affected.
if any of
Maybe.
this,
But
okay.
maybe we will.
Yeah.
So I think that I disagree with y'all. I think I disagree because I
About
feel
what?
like
About
well
what?
about 2021 being a more turbulent year.
raucous. Okay.
I think that that if there is as much purpose behind the emotional reaction as is postulated, I think that if this stuff is orchestrated, then 2021 the orchestration is going to cease. I think that people are not, because it's too much work, because you got what you needed. The electoral season is over. We can get back to shadow boxing. We can be back to moving in the fucking, you know, to not acting as if everything is a spectacle. If this is a spectacle that is being set up, the American public is dumb enough to buy in to the peace that will recede from it. It's not even about buying into it. We'll all be very happy if this is gone.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But I think the orchestration that we're talking about is something that has been a long-term game. I don't think it's been like, it's almost election season. Let's cause a
What's the
virus. It's
purpose
actually-
of the panic?
The purpose of the panic is multiple things. It would be, one, separate people. Two, keep them dependent on certain sources of information. Three, they can't get together. They can't discuss things, if they're a bang.
If they're quarantined, yeah.
Three, cashless, erase anonymity. For, make everybody think they have it. Even just that. And then, just being panicked in general is not good for you. So if there is something, you're going to be more susceptible to it.
I've noticed even, like my parents, they're very old, and they've been, dealing with a grocery store. They've been open since the beginning of the quarantine. They've never shut down. Not for one day. And they're older people, and they do not. They've touched and met with hundreds of people. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody off, because guess what? They're still healthy. They do not exhibit any symptoms. None of us exhibit any symptoms. We always wear a mask. We always do that glove thing. We always hand us. We all do that. Everybody does that. The customers do that. None of us have it. And what I'm just trying to say is, you know, I guess I was just expecting chaos. I was expecting some serious
More sick people,
zombie level stuff.
Yeah,
for the stuff that we're going through right now.
You know, this is like kind of Bill Hicks has this bit where he's talking about, he's like, man, you look at the news and all you see is war and famine and death and killing and war and famine. And he's like, but then you look outside and you're like, what?
See, that's
and
Bill Hicks, dude.
Right. And that's kind of what you're getting at. But
Yeah,
at the
totally.
same time, we also have to remember that the world is literally so big that actually we might not be affected by something that is quote unquote big.
That's also
Even just
true.
looking at like the size of America versus the size of Africa,
Yeah, that's also.
or that every continent fits within Africa.
Yeah.
We're like, holy shit.
Well, you know, some people might say my argument or my view on the situation is a little bit egocentric. You know, and it might be egocentric, you know. But when I think about the things that I say or the things that I state, like, it doesn't seem like this thing is nearly as bad as they're saying. I'm thinking it in terms of like everybody sitting in this room, you know. I'm thinking about it in terms of what's going on in these people's lives,
in your,
not just my own.
Yeah,
And I'm totally serious about that.
I'm serious about that too.
And I take into account, like, I know at least, you know, a few dozen people easily that I can think of, you know.
Same. I don't know. I don't have a personal friend who's gotten sick.
Yeah.
got a couple. You know, Ken got sick.
Didn't know that.
Ken got sick, but he's totally
Didn't
fine.
know that
But-
he's
and,
fine.
and
saw him
something
the other day.
yes, something interesting about one of the three people that I know who have gotten sick. One of them, he said that he tested positive. He has a daughter, so he had to quarantine himself for 2 weeks, not see his daughter for 2 weeks straight. But he said the whole time, he felt fine. He felt active. He couldn't smell.
Right.
That's a common thing.
That's what I hear.
It affected his taste a little, but he had no fever. He had no cough. You know, his lungs are fine. He doesn't really smoke, except for the occasional astral projection.
Right.
You know, and it was interesting because, like, of all the people I know, he's the one who has the least amount of BS inside of them.
Right.
Like, he's a straight shooter, you know? Like, I don't... Kent?
He's a
you
funny
mean
guy.
like literally like health? Or are you talking like...
No, he doesn't lie.
Oh.
He's
doesn't lie.
not a bull hawker. I'm sorry. Look, I curse a lot, and I'm trying not to curse because of the microphone dick in my face.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I would say that Kent is not a bullshitter. You know, he's a straight shooter. He's an honest motherfucker.
But he could not smell.
No.
But he
was
told me he
honest
couldn't
and
really
he could not
smell.
smell.
No.
Now,
Well,
you go ahead,
You
go
know.
ahead, Chad. And I have like a little devil's.
I don't really have a lot to say, but yeah, well, he couldn't smell. All right.
That's all I have
Say
to
what you're
say.
gonna
Yeah, I'm not
So,
saying he's
what I
sick
have
or
to
not.
The thing is, I've heard recently that I've heard of people who've had similar symptoms to what I had in December,
Uh-huh.
and they included like just the gnarliest like stomach virus type situation. Just
Okay.
like here's some entertainment for you guys.
Yeah,
Just
squanch me on through that.
imagine drinking that magnesium sulfide stuff, like bottles and bottles of that magnesium sulfide stuff, just so that it emulsifies this whatever it's in your intestines that's not coming through. And imagine like giving yourself multiple enemas Okay,
People
to
do that.
try to move my bowels, like 6 or 7 enemas, and it didn't do a goddamn thing until I drank a bunch of that magnesium, salt water, all that stuff. I did everything, and then I had like a 102 fever for like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Easily, and I couldn't walk. You know, the whole thing was pretty bad. Now I could see old people dying from that. If that was COVID,
Sure, right.
which I would totally love to see if I have the antibodies. I should get an antibody check, but forgive me that I haven't. Okay.
No.
Yeah. But if it now I heard of people having symptoms like that. I heard of this person that used to rent out a room. That her kids have this. Her kids have those exact symptoms.
The stomach virus ones.
The stomach virus thing. That's what I hear. Now I don't know whether that's a flu or COVID. That that's
There's
what we
another
need to
thing
know.
that starts with co. Could be just like, a lot of coffee, making you poop a lot.
Kofi.
A lot of
Wow.
cohabitation
Or maybe,
with co-partners that are
We'd also need to do a deep look into what they were eating.
a deep
Yeah.
look into your
And just
colon.
and
Am
their
I
colon.
right?
Yeah.
Just-
It could be stomach flu. It could be
It's
totally.
possible.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, who? Yeah. I
you
don't know.
know, these
We
are
would
the
need to
kinds
have
of
looked at many facets of their life.
Get a
if-
bio test on their gut.
on their
We're really focused on the C word, colon, but we need to pay attention to the
Ovid,
D word,
lamb,
D's nuts.
19.
You're right.
Surrender.
Yeah.
See the lamb surrender.
Well, we're here to see how far the long
I'm only
arm
gonna
of
state that once.
nuts.
But
Yeah. To make a long story short or a short story long, whatever. We see inconsistencies in the story, but listen, can we move out of this dark depths? These
we
dark
can
depths.
move
right
out of the depths.
now? Talk about something joyous.
the dark depths.
Yeah, we got Fridays and Saturdays of Avant-Garde, one of the coolest spots in Houston. It's such a myriad of people. Like mostly like
You
really
get
weird.
the actual
individuals.
King of Montrose.
The actual King of Montrose.
You get JJ
Yeah.
and then his gaggle. You get people who just present the idea of hitting other people, and then those people buying everybody drinks and then calling the cops on themselves.
Mr. Avant-Garde.
Mr. Avant-Garde.
Mr.
Oh,
Avant-Garde.
wait. Are we talking?
We know who we talking
All right.
about. We'll
So
keep
he
him
came
anonymous.
into.
I haven't
into
seen
the
a single
coffee- I
person
was
with
gonna
COVID.
text you today.
Dude, he came in and I got
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
He
Which one
Mr. Avant-Garde
the
is
guy that's like kind of like he looks
Long-
like
long
older,
hair,
but he looks
long
like he
hair.
still like tries to like
long
get down.
hair, sunglasses.
Schmanko? Schmanko?
Shouts out.
It's out.
Shouts out.
Oh man, he came in today. And,
Schmanko
you
came
know,
in.
If you ever watches this, I'm sure you
Schmanko's
won't.
Mr. Avant-Garde.
Yeah. He'll
Mr.
I
Avant-
don't think he deserves that title.
I said, watch. He's not gonna recognize me. I've met him a million. I've met him 1 million times now. I said, I pulled my mask down. I said, hey, you recognize me? And he's like, oh, nah, dude. I was like, Avant-Garde. He's like, oh. And that was it. And then I said, chat. And then he did the longest. You did the longest order ever today. And
You did a long order, Mr. Avant-Garde.
and
Schmanko.
I had to like.
That's
You knew
Schmanko
you were
Avant.
pushing it. I asked for a tip.
Schmanko guards.
Did you give a tip?
He didn't even tip.
Oh my god,
I don't know.
dude.
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yo,
I don't think
Mr.
so.
Schmink or whatever your name is, dude. You're getting on that list really quick, bro.
He's schmanging his way into being
You had to look up past post checks on that system.
So our special guest
Our special guest has some.
has a little bit some hacker knowledge when it comes to the POS system that Schmanko orders
We're
on.
also having an event Thursday with the 8th Wonder Brewery once again.
Once again,
outdoors area, Eighth Wonder Brewery. Come get some beer. Hear some amazing music: blues, funk, pop, rock, jazz.
blues, funk, pop, rock, jazz.
We do everything
Pop, rock,
because
jazz.
we know everybody loves a little bit of everything. And spice is, what is it? Life is the spice of life. And life-
Variety is the
Variety,
spice of life.
yeah.
There was one word that.
Here's
wasn't
another
in
good
there.
one about spice: is that hunger is the best spice.
So I want to
Yeah.
do a,
And since y'all aren't seeing a lot of music, this music will sound even better, despite how bad it is, because you're so hungry for it.
I think
Yeah.
we're probably.
It's a
coming
funny
to an
joke.
end. I mean, we can keep talking. It's
Dude,
been a
what were
little
we
over-
gonna? What did we
been over an
say
hour.
that we were gonna touch on in the middle of it?
The morality.
Well, yeah, there was the ethical thing, and then there was another one. Aliens.
Aliens.
All right, here we go.
I remember
Alright,
both
this
of
is the
them.
last one.
We
This
got
is the last.
homework.
Which
We
one?
got
Aliens or
homework.
ethics?
We got homework to do on the alien stuff.
Can we talk about ethics?
Aliens.
Aliens first.
Here's the deal.
Yawn.
It's-
Do they? Don't they exist? Ethics. It's like obviously they exist, but there's intricacies
first
involved.
order of homework,
More
if you're
about-
listening.
It's
more about
more
why
than
do
that.
they
I
exist.
think
It's a lot more
there's
than
going to be
that.
a massive paradigm shift in what we regard as alien. And if I'm wrong, then hold me at the stake. But I think what's gonna happen is we realize that there's literally interdimensional beings, and they don't exist in
and
this universe.
According to some,
They're in other universes.
we already know.
That's old news, right?
That's
Well,
old news, but that's not the
that's-
common rhetoric.
that's
The
old
common
news for
rhetoric is
somebody
that,
like
"Oh,
you."
sorry, there's some aliens.
That's old news for
The
somebody
common
like you.
rhetoric. No, the common rhetoric is this thing called mythology, which has
No, that's not the common rhetoric.
No, that's
Not
some
like-
deep.
not
That's some deep
held-
alien astronaut
That's
stuff,
that's
bro.
an elementary
but we have
level
always
storytelling thing.
as the human race have always have had this openness to the idea
We have.
that there are beings
Yeah.
Yes,
that can travel into higher realms
but we
than
thought
us.
you were talking about specific like Greek Roman mythology.
Well, that's one of the many
that is
mythologies.
one of the
Yes,
many, but I
yes.
wasn't sure if you were saying that that's the common.
What I'm saying is that we are much more ready for the idea that there
Sure.
are actual things that
We
can
are.
travel between
We are.
dimensions than common
That's
science
what's so-
likes to think.
That's
You
what's
know,
so scary to me about this, because the only thing that I really saw happen after the Pentagon made the statement that there are off-world technologies on
Craft.
this planet. Crafts, off-world,
Off-world
crafts. Okay, is
mac and cheese.
Very specific.
the only significant response I felt in my life is just a lot of people Facebook sharing it.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I
nobody-
couldn't believe that was the only like major response that I felt. And so I was almost like,
this is the major response in anything. Oh God, a bunch of kids were shot down by an AK-47.
Exactly. That's what this world
Facebook.
That's what
Like,
this world's come
I'm
to.
doing my part.
That's why I resent social media in a sense, but I also use it for my business
You
and
butt
what we
fuck
do.
the shit out
But
of
it's-
that.
but it's-
yeah.
But and I know it so well. That's why I hate it. You know what I mean? I know him so well.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Yeah. But man, that's
just
all I
to
gotta
be
say about
specific.
that.
It is an ex-Pentagon official.
Ex-Pentagon official.
But
there have been so many officials at this point.
there have been
There's been dozens of officials.
too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a
so
lot
we
of
would-
time with an ex-NASA
I
official.
think a couple of things we would highly recommend.
Another
Canadian
Kylie.
Minister of Defense. Right? Wasn't he the one of the guys that also came out? The Canadian.
Oh, I'm not sure.
The Minister of Defense.
I'm
You
not
know,
sure.
but here's something crazy. So like there's a lot of things that come out on the internet or published in magazines and stuff. With like copyrights and trademarks and even stamps of approval or electronic signatures, for Pete's sake, that are screaming validity. Yet I see no difference between the validity of an obscure website ran by a son of a daughter in his co-Siamese twins' basement, or the entire CNN news staff. I don't see a difference between either publication. Both of the pictures are in very high res, and both of them have a little copyright logo at the bottom. So well, I mean, so I guess that the backlash of the potency of the information age is this. Yes, you can access any truth that you want to, but look at this. As we enter the extreme depths of the human consciousness, truth is no longer a stationary thing. It's there's a lot more bullshit than truth. Or maybe, maybe we get to decide which is which. And
is there a lot more truth and there's a lot less bullshit?
I
don't know.
I don't know, but there are certainly a lot of contradictions, and a contradiction tells me that something is wrong.
Right.
I agree with that.
Listen, I don't. The funny thing is, if you just go, and this is a thing that I just did for fun. I just went to the CDC Instagram and the WHO Instagram, and I told you guys, if you go up there, it's just nothing but a sea of comments that are just demonizing both of those organizations, saying that they're full of lies, that they're miscommunicating, misinforming the public.
Poor CDC.
And so for me, there's a layer of this where I ponder and I think, well, I'm always thinking of the counter argument, which is that, well, maybe they were pressurized to decrease their numbers because they recently, as you said, decreased their death numbers. So was there pressure to do that? Mayhaps.
I don't know.
Probably
they got majorly criticized for it. So I don't know. I think only you and I. We already have that.
You're the only two.
Predisposition to see that. We have that predisposition to see that bias.
Yeah.
And I think there are more people with them that are not.
But even on the alien thing, my whole thing is, why now? I don't know why I haven't heard this question enough, which is why now? We're in the middle of this chaos.
Right.
It's like everybody's losing their...
Y'all been holding on to this for what, 50 plus years?
Yeah.
And now that nobody can go out to bars and everybody's scared and panicked and buying too much toilet paper. Oh, by the way, aliens.
It doesn't make any sense.
Why? What? I mean, it does. You can make sense out of it.
Was this the way that they would test our reaction to aliens? That's the only argument.
No, I don't think this works even, because it's just another news story, honestly.
It's just another news
and
story.
I think that actually shows how little faith people have in what they read, because they're gonna read everything and give it some threshold level, but then they're really just gonna go with whatever feels best for them. And aliens, it's like, you haven't experienced it at all. Most people haven't experienced it.
And I get that.
I want to believe too.
I got one. Yeah, something really cool about aliens, as far as the government is concerned, is that regardless of what is revealed, the populace is powerless. Yeah, just like the government is powerless. If there's really interdimensional travel
against these,
so it's basically a non sequitur. Right. Hey, aliens exist. Hey, they don't. Cool. That doesn't change what I do.
We're not powerless.
Okay.
Because just because we're taking all opinions into play. You watch. There are plenty of people who talk about our secret space program and the idea of shadow boxing, the technology that we have, and then also there's a whole essentially school of thought that we work with different extraterrestrials in the solar system, and that we're totally in communication, and there are all these different species.
Reminds me of that movie They Live, which you haven't seen,
which I don't think
I'd highly recommend. I know
totally seen that guy.
And so there could be an alien race, the reptilians, presumably the warrior race that conquers, controlling us.
The Nordics,
Here,
the
let me take it.
Greys,
that
the,
look
The
like
Nordics,
humans.
the blue avians,
The Greys.
the reptilians,
The
There's
Yeah.
there's so many and
the tall whites,
The tall
as
whites,
yeah. To
the
take it-
former defense minister of Canada
to take it.
claims,
Yeah.
according to this Vice article, which
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
published in 2013.
What was the name of that Canadian guy?
Hold on.
Shouts out.
Paul Hellyer.
Paul, you're the guy.
Paul, we're seeing the Vice article.
yeah.
Here's a breakdown of the claims. According to the Vice article, there are at least 4 types of alien species, and they've been visiting Earth for thousands of years. Okay, you know what? That sounds crazy. Go read the Law of One.
Oh.
The different species probably have different agendas and should not be considered as one entity. Let me
And-
just break them down. Let me do it. all of them.
Okay.
That's crazy.
One of the species is called the tall whites. Hellyer claims that 2 of them are working with the United States. We've heard that. The banding together of different groups and galactic judges, etc. There are live ETs on Earth at this present time. We've heard that. That's old news. A cabal formed by the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, and the Trilateral Commission, the International Banking Cartel, the Oil Cartel, and select members of the military are planning to create one world government. They are the ones suppressing the information about the aliens from the public. Okay.
That
What
last
about
one's a
any of this
stretch.
is surprising. No.
What the-
about any of this?
Yeah,
So what is the deal that the international
that last
drug-
one, that there's a cabal that. Okay, what
I'm
I'm
not
not.
against the idea that there's a cabal. But
I'm
my
I'm not
question
against
is-
the idea that there's a cabal either.
Joseph
How do we know?
Campbell.
Who says what they are, where it's coming from?
I
If
wanna
it's
say
secret,
something.
then
You have people that have. There are people saying this.
But that's
You
like
have
you said,
people-
like 12 vague, like different
I
groups
don't-
of people,
I
like
don't
some
know.
drug dealers and some council of like
The
foreign,
oil cartel. I don't
the
think they
the
said drug
oil
dealers.
cartel. That's a pretty vague.
I think the people who are at the top person in each of these categories is probably kind of within the group of the wealthiest people in the world. I don't know what the Bilderbergers are or the Trilateral Commission. I'm
The
thinking
quantum of solace, is that on there?
the banking cartel.
Is the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn on there? Because if
faith
it's not, I
in the
don't buy it.
central banking system is diminishing. We've
Well,
seen the
what I wanna-
we've seen the price of gold
Besides,
shoot
like,
up. Now,
Yeah,
it
that's true.
recently went down, but it did reach a decade high recently.
They're too strong.
And this is just showing that our fiat currency is losing its value, and we're not doing well in other countries, and America is not becoming the dream it once was.
No, America's lost its dream, but
It still is the dream for most folks
for most folks, it's
outside of
including
America.
myself, and I'm not from the U.S.
Probably.
Yeah, it's pretty high. Big ups
Probably-
to you. It's, they ain't paved with gold, but at least they paved, though. Am I
And-
right?
And shouts out to YouTube for making a platform on which we can actually share even controversial information.
Yo, this one's for
Although,
YouTube. I can watch my
that's gonna be a
homeboy Sandman
whole
videos.
Another discussion
That's a
about
whole nother thing.
Yo, could I just comment real quick on the second point about aliens? Because I've been trying to. And
Say
the
it.
whole
You
thing
may go
about,
now.
like,
Say, this is a closing comment.
a lot of times people are all like, aliens are doing this, aliens are doing that. And they don't sit back and realize that, like, if there were a group of aliens, there are probably multiple groups of aliens who all have their own agendas.
that's
like-
what they say.
Yeah, that's what it's not even about what they say. That's just the most probable thing. Even if humans, we could do interdimensional travel, unless there was a one world government, and then the Russians and the Chinese would be trying to get to Pluto at different speeds like they are now. So the idea that interdimensional travel exists, is superseded by the idea that, well, precedes the idea that multiple entities can achieve this form of travel. If multiple entities achieve this form of travel, that means that multiple entities have the potential to visit this planet. Question is, why would more than one group of entities have any interest in this useless planet?
What
We-
makes you
we
think
can't
it's
know
so
that.
useless? There's an abundance of various mineral
I don't.
resources.
I think it's a great planet,
of
and
organic
I
material.
can't blame.
Slaves, if anything, for the aliens.
Yeah,
And we
I agree
might
with that.
already be.
I was just trying
like,
to,
great analogy. Great
address
analogy.
a counter argument.
Right. That is a counter.
I wasn't trying to.
We want to give a shout out.
Busted in with my own counter argument, dude. I had to do it too.
Remember,
Well, I agree
let's-
with you. It's not useless.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the first ever Houston Ensemble podcast. If you enjoyed this stream, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. If you're interested in seeing our band perform, visit our social media outlets for all upcoming show dates. Be well, be safe, and we'll see you on the next episode.